Hello, and welcome back to another episode of COVID-sciqueen. Today, we're going to be exploring investigation number 2, which is going to look at how your brain and your body process senses and how your body is able to maintain a stable internal environment. It did take me a little longer than expected to finish the second video. Quarantine has had a definite effect on me. I'm not going to lie. I've been having a pretty hard time. I started struggling with myself in my head. It was super hard to motivate myself to get things done. And then one day I tried meditating to calm my anxiety, and I had a great idea. I realized that I better not be the only one going through this right now. Our lives have been uprooted. So many things have changed. So I decided, why don't I change the focus of the investigation to talk about the science of stress and anxiety, since so many of us are going through it right now. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I find it really useful to draw diagrams of systems, or even better, use virtual tools to show you how things are interrelated. This system shows a simple version of your body's response to a stressful event.
What makes you feel feelings of worry or stress or anxiety? Anxiety is actually a very useful emotion when it comes to sensing and escaping danger. The only problem is that sometimes our body doesn't recognize that certain stressful triggers will not cause immediate danger. Your brain and hormones in your body will respond the same way and cause you to feel anxious. What is causing you worry or stress or anxiety during social distancing and quarantine? What could your body be misinterpreting as immediate danger? Enough with the technical stuff. Let's put our little kids to work. So my K through 2 students, you are going to use your engineering brains to ask questions and try to design a solution to what makes you worry. So start brainstorming, and you can use this worksheet as your guide if you'd like, but you want to try to design, like an engineer, some sort of solution to either stop what makes you worry or what makes a family member worry.
Before we get in too deep about anxiety, let's back it up. Let's back it way up. Let's talk about senses. You have 5 main senses. What are they? You can pause the video if you'd like to quiz your little ones here. We have sight, smell, taste, hearing, and touch. Your body is able to perceive the world around it through your 5 senses. What is it? What are the sense organs? How is it that you process sight? How do you process smell? You can pause here and quiz your little ones if you'd like. We're going to see an example.
This is my dog, Jovie. She's going to be our test subject. Let's watch what happens when she hears a stimulus, which is a knock at the door. Jovie's sense organ, or her ear, is picking up on the sound waves, and her brain is telling her that she needs to go answer the door. Let's break this down. The knock on the door that Jovie heard was her stimulus. That stimulated her to exhibit a behavior. She received this information through her ear. That's her sensory input, or her sense organ. Her brain received the signal from the ears. Her brain processed what she heard, and her brain also told her to exhibit a behavioral output, meaning Jovie's going to go run to see who's at the door. This process is especially important for our 3rd through 5th grade students. What other examples can you think of sensory processing? What other senses are there? Do you have to use an animal as your example? Feel free to use this graphic organizer to prompt your 3rd through 5th graders. Available as both a printable PDF or modifiable Google Draw file. I'm also giving you access to this graphic organizer to get our pre-K students thinking about senses too. Our middle school students need to do some research and discover a bit more detail on sensory processing. Using at least 2 sources, 6th through 8th graders should discover the types of sensory inputs our sense organs can detect. They want you to classify them as either mechanical, chemical, or electromagnetic. I've already completed some of the first one for you. The hair cells in our ears are able to detect mechanical inputs as sound waves. Let's watch this abbreviated clip from NIH on how we process sound.
Take a trumpet, for instance. When it's played, it makes sound waves in the air. The outer ear catches the waves, which then travel through a narrow passageway called the ear canal. The sound waves reach the eardrum, which is a membrane roughly half the size of a dime. They make the eardrum vibrate. The hair bundle on top of the hair cell turns these movements into electrical signals. The auditory nerve carries the electrical signal to the brain, which interprets the messages as sounds that we recognize and understand.
What if this were a system? What if Jovie's behavioral output of running to the door stopped the stimulus, meaning it stopped the door from knocking? This is something we would call negative feedback. So let's take a look. Notice how the knocking continues right up until the moment that the door is opened. As the output increases, it causes a signal to bring the system back to normal, or homeostasis for living organisms. I keep mentioning homeostasis, and what I mean by that is your body is able to keep itself at a constant internal balance without you even knowing it. Here's an example I'm sure you're more familiar with. As you get hot and your body temperature increases, your body signals cooling mechanisms like sweating to lower your body temperature back to normal, 98.6 degrees. When you get cold, your body activates heating mechanisms like shivering to raise your body temperature back to normal, or homeostasis. On the flip side, positive feedback mechanisms keep the cycle going. In this made-up example, Jovie's answering the door would actually cause the knocking to continue. Let's go back to our simplified anxiety feedback loop to bring this lesson full circle. While the cycle of stress and anxiety would normally be a negative feedback loop, it becomes positive feedback as long as your body is still perceiving danger. This was important for early human ancestors who might have been startled by a suspicious noise, but if that noise happened to come from a hungry predator, it would be imperative that they continue to perceive danger and exhibit fight or flight. If your body does not perceive the threat as passing, it's going to continue releasing those hormones and you're going to continue feeling stressed.
Finally, the high school students. You are tasked with designing an investigation to provide evidence that feedback mechanisms maintain homeostasis. Which types of feedback loops bring a system back to a balanced internal state? Feel free to come up with your own investigation, but I'm going to recommend a heart rate activity because it's easy. Measure your heart rate by placing 2 fingers over your carotid artery on the side of your neck, or the radial artery on your wrist under your thumb. Set a timer for 1 minute, and count how many times you feel your heart beat during that time. That's what you're going to write down. So how many times your heart beat in 1 minute is how you measure your heart rate. You will compare your resting heart rate when you are calm and sitting still to your heartbeat after some sort of activity or activities. This could be an exercise, a body position, or even different types of music. Since you want to provide evidence that the body will return to homeostasis, you'll want to time how long it takes for your heart rate to return to normal after you've completed these activities. And you want to do each activity at least 2 or 3 times to rule out any outliers and make sure that you have a nice average that's as representative as possible of how your heart rate will change as a result of different activities or body positions. Circling back one more time to our kindergarten through 2nd grade students. If you and your family found the engineering challenge a bit too abstract, let's think to our plant and animal neighbors. They have external body parts that help them survive and meet their needs. Think how an elephant uses its long trunk to get food and water. Can humans borrow an idea from a plant or animal neighbor to help solve our problems? We talked about a few problems today, like stress and anxiety, as well as other senses, how we react to a door knocking, and how our heart rate might change after an activity. Feel free to try to solve one of these problems or one of your own. Thanks again for tuning in to another one of COVID-sciqueen Science Investigations for families to do together at home and for teachers to adapt into their own virtual classrooms. I hope you have a good day and a good week, and tune in next time. Bye.